Child of God, how are you doing today? I hope you're fine and full of good vibes. On this episode, we shall be going through some videos, reacting together with you. These videos are full of good vibes, love, and some contain extremely interesting information. All of these videos, we shall be going through them to impact the heart of each and every lovely child of God out there like yourself with good vibes, peace. Make sure that we are all honest athletes, living as good vibes people, forgiving one another. Speaking of forgiveness, my friend, always asking for forgiveness from the Maker, our Supreme Creator, God Almighty, whom is love, my friend. The love that we here really emphasize on. Loving your neighbor the way you love yourself. And for us to do this, my friend, perfectly and possibly, our hearts must be full of good vibes. And this book here is telling us something today about a heart that can help in spreading this message. So, hear what it says. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit in you and move you to follow my decrees and be careful to keep my laws. You will live in the land I gave your forefathers. You will be my people, and I will be your God. Ezekiel 36 from verse 26 going down. Interesting, right? A heart, my friend, of flesh and not a heart of stone. Wonderful. Let's talk with this adorable creator, my friend, before we start the good vibe show of today. Father Lord, thank you for the word we've heard from the book of wisdom. Thank you for this day, Father. Thank you, dear Lord, for you shall help that word to grow in us, Father. Thank you for that word will be of help to this viewer that have joined us today. We give you glory, Father. Thank you, Father, for the forgiveness of all our sins through the ultimate sacrifice of your Son, Jesus Christ. We give you glory for that, Father. Thank you for the life-transforming experience that you shall be giving this viewer. Thank you for your goodness in their lives, Father. Thank you for you shall lead them in your paths, Father, and help them to follow your laws, dear Lord, and be kind to all athletes. Be with us till the end as we react to these videos, Father, and may your Spirit guide us. We shall be grateful. In your holy name, Jesus Christ, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Let's dive in good vibes and have a wonderful time.
TMZ is reporting that Justin Bieber is now officially broke after spending around $1 billion throughout his career.
I was on a call with multiple people. Justin's side acknowledged that in 2022 he was on the verge of, and the words were, financial collapse. And that's why he had to sell his catalog.
In TMZ's new article and documentary, they said that Justin Bieber was on the verge of financial collapse in 2022, and that's why he had to sell his entire music catalog for $200 million. Now, apparently, Justin Bieber still owes a ton of money to his former manager, Scooter Braun, who told him not to sell his catalog in December and wait for the tax break in January, but Justin Bieber did not want to listen. After the cancellation of the Justice Tour in 2022, Justin Bieber was left with a debt of $24 million to a production company, which had advanced him $40 million. To cover that loss, Scooter Braun's company actually paid that off for Justin Bieber when Justin Bieber agreed to repay him the amount over 10 years, but stopped paying after the first year. After an investigation, Scooter Braun's team was actually still owed $8.8 million that Justin Bieber has never paid.
Dad, I want you to try this new ball I got. It's called Shocked. It's a new type of ball. There's there's a sweet spot there. And if you hit it, it's supposed to go like 10, 15 yards further.
I need that. Oh, fuck! You fucking asshole! Come on, Jeff, you can't fucking do that to me. Fuck me. That was a good shot, too.
You pounded that thing.
Fuck off. Get that off me, for fuck's sake.
Fuck, it did work. You hit the
Fucking
sweet
scared
spot
the
there.
fucking piss out of me. Fuck.
Ever notice how your dog goes wild barking at some people but stays chill with others? It's like they've got a secret stranger radar. I used to wonder why my dog Max would lose it when the mailman showed up but wag his tail like crazy for my neighbor. Turns out there's a lot going on in that furry little head. Today we're diving deep into why dogs bark at certain strangers and not others. Stick around, because by the end you'll understand your dog's behavior like never before, and maybe even learn a few tricks to keep the barking under control. Let's start with the basics. Barking is how dogs talk. It's their way of saying, hey, something's up. They might be excited, bored, or just trying to get your attention. But when it comes to strangers, barking is often about one thing: instinct. Dogs are wired to notice anything that seems off, and some strangers trigger that alarm more than others. So, what's setting it off? One big factor is who your dog is at their core. Think about it. Different breeds were created for different jobs. A German Shepherd bred to guard might see a stranger at your door and think, intruder alert. Meanwhile, a Golden Retriever bred to be everyone's best friend might just want to play fetch with them. My friend's Rottweiler, Zeus, barks at anyone who even looks at her house. But her lab, Sunny, only barks if you're holding a tennis ball and not throwing it. It's not just breed, though. Every dog's got their own personality, shaped by their genes and how they see the world. Now here's where it gets interesting. How your dog was raised plays a huge role. When dogs are puppies, they go through this critical phase where they're like sponges, soaking up experiences. If they meet all kinds of people, tall, short, loud, quiet, wearing weird hats, they learn that strangers are no big deal. But if they miss out on that, new faces can seem scary later on. I read about a study where dogs who weren't exposed to enough people as pups were way more likely to bark at strangers as adults. It's like they're thinking, who's this? Never seen one of these before. Past experiences stick with dogs, too. They've got memories like elephants when it comes to emotions. If a dog got spooked by, say, a guy in a hoodie once, they might start barking at every hoodie-wearing person they see. On the flip side, if they got treats from someone in a red jacket, they might love red jackets forever. It's wild how specific their brains can get. My dog Max used to bark at anyone with a backpack until we spent a summer hiking with my cousin, who always wore one. Now backpacks are his favorite thing. Here's something you might not expect. Dogs are basically mind readers. Okay, not really, but they're scary good at reading people. Research shows dogs can spot human emotions just by looking at our faces or hearing our voices. There's this study from Biology Letters that blew my mind. Dogs can match a happy face with a happy voice or an angry face with an angry tone. So, if a stranger's acting nervous or staring your dog down, your pup might sense trouble and let out a bark. Direct eye contact, by the way, is a big no-no in dog language. It's like saying, "Want to fight?" A calm stranger who ignores your dog at first, they're way less likely to get barked at. Oh, and get this, dogs can smell fear. I'm not kidding. Their noses are so powerful they can pick up tiny changes in our body chemistry, like the adrenaline we release when we're scared. So, if someone's freaked out walking by your dog, your pup might catch a whiff and think, something's up with this guy. It's like they got a built-in lie detector. Where your dog is matters too. At home, they're the king or queen of the castle, so they're more likely to bark at anyone who steps on their turf. My dog Max turns into a furry security guard when someone knocks. But at the park, he's too busy sniffing grass to care. Noisy, crowded places can also make dogs more on edge, so they might bark at strangers there but stay cool in a quiet setting. Some dogs just feel like it's their job to protect you. Maybe they were trained to guard, or maybe they just decided, I'm the boss around here. Either way, if they think a stranger's a threat, they're hitting the bark button. I know a guy whose tiny chihuahua, Taco, barks like he's a Great Dane whenever someone new walks in. Taco's convinced he's the family bodyguard. Your dog's also picking up on you. If you tense up around a stranger, your dog might think, uh-oh, mom's worried, better sound the alarm. It's like they're your emotional wingman, always ready to back you up. So, how do you deal with a dog who barks at strangers? First, keep introducing them to new people in a positive way. Take them to different places. Let them meet all kinds of folks, and make it fun with treats or playtime. It's like throwing a party for their brain. If Max meets someone new and gets a treat, he's too busy wagging to bark. Training is huge, too. Teach your dog to focus on you when a stranger's around. I started getting Max to sit and look at me when someone approached, and it's like flipping a switch. He calms right down. Rewarding calm behavior is key. Every time your dog stays quiet around a stranger, give them something they love, whether it's a treat or a belly rub. It's like telling them, "Good job, you're a genius." Here's the bottom line. Your dog's barking at some strangers, and not others because of who they are, how they were raised, what they've been through, and how the world looks to them in that moment. It's like they're solving a puzzle every time someone new shows up. By understanding what's going on in their head, you can help them feel safer and bark less. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you loved learning about your dog's wild brain, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment and tell me, does your dog have a stranger they always bark at? I want to hear about it. See you next time.
You should literally dig up your banana plants, cut them down, and replant the bottom of it upside down. Let's talk about why. What we're doing right here is we're removing the banana corm, which is like the heart or the brain of the banana. This part of the plant is responsible for collecting nutrients, sending out new pups, growing the actual banana stalk that we see above ground. So when we're able to manipulate this part of the plant, we can take one pup and turn it into several at once, thus multiplying the amount of banana plants we have by a lot and increasing the likelihood of getting a rack of fruit sooner since we have a nice strong set of roots. This is by far one of my favorite ways to propagate bananas, just simply because you get a couple pups at once instead of having that one lead stalk. And this is gonna help you guys get a lot more bananas at home, all right? Drop a comment or share with a friend. Peace.
What? My friends, to me, that does not look like a normal lightning strike. Why does it look like it is fire falling down from the sky? We see lightning from this side of the world, and it doesn't normally look like that. You good vibe soul, tell us, do you think that thing was abnormal in quite some way? I'd like to hear what you think about it. Up to this point, we've seen interesting stuff. Myself, I've learned how different humans plant bananas in different places of the world. In fact, I've seen a new trick that I think I will try it out soon. Because it's like I've been planting bananas all the way back. Because how we plant a banana from this side of the world. After they have grown, we remove one of their small bananas. Just the way it is whole. You go dig a hole and you put it as the banana itself. It will grow, but it will only grow to be that one banana stalk. Anyway, people do things differently, and in such videos, they can get to understand how it is possible for all things to help one another in different places. Now, before we continue watching, there's also another video that has caught my mind. The video with the dogs, my friend. That good vibes guy has taught us interesting stuff. Did you know all those things about how dogs bark? Myself, some of those things I've learned today. It was quite interesting. I've always wondered why the dog barks at people carrying sacks. Maybe it ever had a bad experience with one of those guys. Let's keep on watching and hit that like button. Good vibes.
What is Scientology and why are people mad at Charlie for wearing a necklace representing it? So Scientology as like a belief is sort of a religion based on science. Now if that's all Scientology was, it wouldn't be harmful, like believe what you want to believe. But Scientology has such a bad reputation because it's basically a cult. One of the most concerning things about Scientology and it being like a cult is that a lot of celebrities follow and believe in it. One of the most notable members of Scientology is literally Tom Cruise. One of the worst things about Scientology is how they allegedly treat a lot of their members. Here are some of the things that former members have claimed Scientology does. Apparently if you talk back or question them, they will punish you. They also would keep a tight control over your work and social life. They also try to cut off any outside connection you have, like both family and friends that are not part of the Church of Scientology. Leaders in Scientology have also been accused of both violence against staff and members. And Scientology even has its own prison where people are humiliated and abused and forced to admit what they did wrong. In short, if you're ever asked to join the Church of Scientology, just say no.
Story time of when my 2-year-old daughter said she knew my sister, even though my sister had passed away 11 years before my daughter was born. So my daughter's 2 years old. I'm showing her pictures of the family and I'm quizzing her. I'm like, who is this? She said, oh, that's Nana. Who's this? Oh, that's Papa. I show her a young picture of me. She said, oh, that's you, Daddy. And so one picture we get to, and it's my younger sister. And she says, who is that? And I said, oh, that's your aunt. That's TT Rachel. She's in heaven. She says, I know TT Rachel. She said, I miss her. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? She says, yeah, I miss TT Rachel. And then we kept looking at pictures. And me, I'm like, this is before my spiritual awakening. So I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking, oh, kids, their imagination, they're always making stuff up. Now I realize it's not their imagination. They're not making stuff up. But yeah, so she started, she's looking at other pictures and she's like, yeah, I miss TT Rachel. I wish I could be with her again. I'm like, again? So after this happens, every night for like a year, she either cried before bed or woke up in the middle of the night saying, I miss TT Rachel. I love her. I want to be with her again. I want to go back to TT Rachel. And I said, absolutely. That's impossible. She's in heaven. You ain't going nowhere. You're staying right here with me. But she would cry. She would cry her eyes out, her heart. It was so emotional. But she was just like, I got to get back to her. I miss her. I love her. And she would just every night for a year, she did this. And me and her mom, we didn't know what to do. We were just like, no clue. I mean, what do you say? What do you do? Now, having been awakened, I understand what questions to ask, and I understand past lives, and I understand how reality isn't what we think it is. But that was a crazy experience.
Let me tell you why I don't believe in a soul. I actually remember the exact moment when I lost faith in souls. I was in the grocery store and I was listening to podcasts about split brain studies. When you have to sever the corpus callosum, usually because of severe epilepsy, what you get is two independent brains that are having an independent conscious experience. And it was the moment in the study where you put a wall here and you ask different questions to different sides of the brain. And you can ask, do you believe in God? And one side of the brain will, and one side of the brain won't. Or you'll ask, what do you want to be? What career do you want to have? And one said race car driver and one said accountant. These were acting like two different people. And so it really challenged in me this concept of a self or a soul that is a single unified essence, or something that can even like transcend the conditioning of the brain. And really it started to make more sense to me that the concept of self is a construct that emerges from the brain's interconnected processes. So that was the moment that I lost my faith in a soul, but I kept wrestling with it, and I wanted to look at all sides and see how like apologists explain the soul and things like that, but I never got a good explanation that could stand up to this set of twins. This is Krista and Tatiana Hogan, and they are very special. They share a thalamus. They have a bridge to each other's thalamus because they have a shared brain. So if you cover one of their eyes and show something to the other twin, they're not seeing it with their eyes, but they can know what the other twin is looking at because they're getting that information in their brain. If you touch one of their feet, they will get that sensory input to their brain, even if you didn't touch, that twin's foot. They can share thoughts and emotions without speaking. And there's even an overlap of motor control where one twin can kind of take on the coordination of the other twin's body. Now the question is, if souls exist, is it one soul or two? Because if you argue that they have two souls, then the same exact argument should be for your own brain, that you have two souls in your brain that are connected through a bridge of information, because that is what they are. And if you say that I have one soul, even though I have two sides of the brain with information connected, then you would also have to say that they have one soul. And how can they be one soul if they have different personalities and they have different likes and dislikes? One is more outgoing and the other one is more reserved. So if this is two souls, then I am actually two souls that is bridged together with an information bridge, because that's what they are. So even for how little we know about consciousness, and people who say that we don't understand consciousness and, energy is never created or destroyed, so our consciousness lives on, even if that were so, I still don't think you can make the jump to a soul, meaning that there's an essence of Brittany that lives on after my brain dies. I just see no way for that to happen. The most poetic that I can get for you is when I die, the elements that were me will go on to create other things, and other things will get to experience being. And hopefully someday in the future, a cell that used to be me will become a tree, and a cell that used to be you will be a bird, and you'll land on my branches and we'll share a moment again in a different way without knowing it. There's something poetic about that. There's something beautiful about that I can appreciate. But that's as far as I go with like after death, soul, consciousness kind of stuff. So whoever you are, thank you for sharing this 3 minutes with me. Maybe I'll see you again on a tree.
Yo, child of God, hold it right there. You good vibe soul. Do you think you have a soul inside yourself? Huh? Tell us down below in the comment section. This good vibe soul, whoever is talking about, is extremely nice, but it's her own opinion. In my case, I think people have souls, even if not all people. Children of God out there have a soul. Good vibe soul. You see, that issue that the good vibe child of God was telling us about, those two people that were intertwined, those two children. You see, that in itself shows the greatness of God, my friend. You see, if He can create such interesting creatures, that is wonderful, child of God. Something that we humans can't fathom. It's beyond our understanding. Now that's the creation and beauty of our Creator Almighty. I hope you all love one another as children of God, and together we can make a significant change in this world. Let's continue watching, and I hope you are enjoying the videos. Good vibes to you. Okay. Whoa. There's something going on here. What is this? Whoa, my friend tells me this is an ancient artificial robot. In the past, they had robots. How is this possible? Allegedly, good web source, people in the past, like the Homo erectus, maybe, I don't know which age this is from, but it's quite ancient. He's a robot. Looks like it even have a brain inside. How is this possible? You mean Stone Age people had robots? Here we see interesting stuff every day. This one, I didn't expect I would see this today. But how is this possible?
In Syria these days, when you ask for the check at a restaurant, they bring this massive machine to count the bills. Credit cards don't work here because of foreign sanctions, and the biggest bill available is a £5,000 note. That's the equivalent of 50 cents in the US. The fall of Bashar al-Assad has meant a flood of foreign products coming into Syria. But years and years of foreign sanctions that are still in place, have rendered this basically a cash-only economy. And so if you want to buy a car, you have to count out every bill. But first you have to save them up. Banks here have daily limits on how much you can withdraw. Right now it's about the equivalent of $20. Which is a lot of trips to the ATM if you want to buy a car, even a used one.
We've all seen the viral video of the guy that's a part-time gravedigger that says you'll never see a new cemetery being built, and everybody saying that that's proof of the Matrix. Well, buckle up, let's go for a ride, because I did the math after it piqued my curiosity. So we'll start with some raw numbers, and for everything I have here, I only used Google's quick search results to keep it even and fair. So, that being said, our current population is 340 million today. At our current death rate, that's 7.7% dies every year, for a total of 26,180,000. Well, currently, we've plummeted in the last 25 years to 39.4% buried. That's 10,314,920 a year. So keep that in mind, but let's go back further because cemeteries are never new, they're always old, right? The most you can fit is 1,250 people in an acre. The American Planning Association says there's currently 140,000 acres. So let's go back even further. So from 1800 to 1900, 80 million Americans died. And from 1900 to 2000, 270 million Americans died. That's a total of 355 million people dead. Well, depending on which schematic you want to use, it was anywhere from 83 to 92% were buried opposed to other methods. I kept it at 80% just to, be heavily conservative and see where this goes. Well, it gets a lot more interesting now because at 80%, that's 284 million graves. At 140,000 acres, it's at best 170 million graves. So we already got 109 million people just chilling out, like stacked up dead somewhere, waiting to get buried or are buried and still have to bury new people every day. But let's keep going and keep doing the math on this. So let's take Arlington, for example. National Cemetery. It's 639 acres. A little more than half the size of the largest two in the U.S., but still very sizable. And they have 400,000 graves for every... I totally dropped my paper on that one. So there's 400,000 graves in there. So that's 626 per acre. And they say it's full. It's so full that they can't even stuff a dead wombat anywhere. So just from 1700 to 1900, that's 284 million graves at 626 per acre. Each state in the U.S. would have 4,544 cemeteries, twice the size of Arlington, or 9,074 the size of. That'd be like driving down the interstate and it's just Arlington after Arlington after Arlington after Arlington. But it gets even better. So you ask Google, how many acres of cemetery exist in the U.S.? And they say it's just at 2 million. Well, just the people that died from 1700 to 1900 would take 5,797,925 acres just to bury them. And we still have to have room for new people, and then the people that died in the last 25 years, and anybody that was here before 1700. But let's keep going here. Now remember, this year alone, at the 39.4%, 10,314,920 are going to be buried this year. That's 28,260 graves a day in the U.S. Or 1,178 graves an hour. Or 24 graves every hour in each state. So think about that. If you're a grave digger with no breaks, you can't stop to pee, you can't even fart, you can't anything, you got to dig perfect every time. I mean, it's got to be bam, 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 bam on that backhoe. Nothing can go wrong. There's not even counting support staff or the guy that even runs you diesel fuel. Just the guy that digs the graves. That's 3,534 8-hour shifts. So that alone is 300,000 grave diggers in the U.S. alone. That means 1 out of every 100 man, women, and child in this country is a grave digger. Now, because of those wacky laws that say that you can't have children digging graves, and most women don't dig graves unless you forget to put something in the hamper or something equally as silly as that, it's pretty much all guys of a certain age that would be in that demographic. So it really narrows it down to 1 out of every 30 Americans would have to be a grave digger that that's a male between 18 and 48. We don't have that many. How many grave diggers do you know? I actually don't know any, unless you screwed up and we're in the wrong side of town. But on that, we'll digress. But yeah, so Is it mean that we would have to be in the Matrix? You tell me. By the way, challenge my math. Use Google. Show me where I'm wrong. I am dying to know because, yeah, the math is not mathin'. The dude's 100% right. I mean, we would literally have to have full-time cemetery openings. We would have to have just support staff on top of support staff, not to mention the number of people making coffins. It's just, it would literally be you or your cousin or your brother or everybody you would know would be somehow related to this industry. And where's the rest of the dead people? Because there's openings in most cemeteries. So let me know. Yeah, if my math's off or anything, by all means, check me, because I'm dying to know. Because if I'm right, that's really, really, really weird. Or we just live in a matrix. You tell